This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC Columbus, Blaydes versus Daukaus. We'll go through the full betting breakdown for this card. Guys, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn those post notifications on, and share the video as well. We'll cover locks, dogs, props, and parlays. Should be another fun episode. Looking forward to jumping right into it and checking out the pure betting side here. We'll start it off as we always do with the locks here. Some interesting plays potentially on locks. I'll start with lock number one. I feel like it's probably going to be a lot of people's lock. It's Alisab Kisarev. Super high on this prospect. He fights Dennis Tululin. The odds are super wide though. Minus 450 towards Alisab Kisarev right now. That's best value over at Bet Online. It's actually at minus 500. So not going to be a great money line play. I definitely see it more as a parlay addition. There could be ways to prop it up though. Let me see what props are available at the moment. And we'll look. It might be what's worth playing. Okay, so fight ends inside distance, or excuse me, Kisharev wins inside distance. I think that's a solid play. Value of that is minus 225. It's a really wide one, but I'll be 100% honest. I think the likelihood of inside the distance is very high. I think method of victory by inside distance is going to get you in a little bit of a tricky predicament for the fact that I feel like it could be ground and pound TKO, or it might be submission. Definitely see it on the floor for Kisharev. I'm looking at something that I think I like more. Under 1.5, minus 175. I see Kisarev winning this fight definitely in the first round and a half. I feel like Tululin is going to get ran over here. I don't necessarily think he's at the level. Not maybe even UFC middleweight, we'll find out, but definitely not Alisab Kisarev. Well-rounded as hell. We've seen Tululin beaten on the floor in the past. I see it happening here. I'm going win inside distance as the potential play, but minus 225. Alisab Kisarev, the money line minus 450. Maybe you're propping that, or excuse me, parlaying that up. But I think propping up maybe under 1.5 would be a pretty decent play. I mean, even under 2.5 minus 390 is going to be better value than you're going to find for Kisarev straight money line. That is the first of the locks of the night. Alisab Kisarev, definitely an exciting play and a freaking exciting prospect to watch, man. They call him Habib 2, and we're going to find out if he lives up to it in his middleweight division UFC debut. Fun matchup there. I do think maybe down the line better suited for 170, but right now I want to see what he can do at 185 pounds. The next lock is going to be Manon Fiorot. Definitely odds are not favorable here. Best value is minus 410. Jennifer Maia on the opposite side, plus 380. I see Fiorot picking her apart, striking, fending off takedowns, maybe even mixing in takedowns of her own. I think in the clinch, Fiorot's going to surprise some people with their strength and definitely surprise Jennifer Maia as well. Maia's got really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but she is kind of known for that Muay Thai striking style. And I'll say this, she's not a great offensive wrestler, and I don't think she has the wrestling chops to take down Fiorot on the ground. If she did get her down, I could see Fiorot finding a way up. Obviously, there could be danger if Maia does have some type of an advantageous grappling position. Not enough so that I'd be telling you bet the dog Maia. I like Manon Fiorot for the win. I think she's continuing to prove herself as a legit contender. As far as the betting side there, money line minus 450, minus 410, depending where you go. I feel like we are going long here. So over 2.5 minus 200 is not a bad over-under. Fiorot wins via decision. I'm really feeling like this is the most likely method of victory for her. Maia, not an easy girl to put away. Went 5 rounds with Valentina Shevchenko. If Fiorot was able to stop Maia, the stock rises even more than just beating Maia, which is a huge win. Fiorot decision minus 105 I don't think is a bad prop either, but definitely I think we're going a bit long here. Fight goes distance minus 165, not terrible. I like a couple of those over-unders, definitely going the over side, and I feel like over 2.5 minus 200 or fight goes distance minus 165. Fiorot parlay addition money line or win decision, Fiorot prop bet. Definitely some solid plays you can do with this lock here, even though the money line isn't super appetizing. The next lock, I'll be honest, the value of this one is a lot more playable money line. It's Neil Magny over Max Griffin. Much more UFC experience. I think stylistically hard matchup for Max Griffin. Rangy, volume-based striker with a solid grappling game. If you're a beast of a wrestler, Magny will struggle. Not with Max Griffin. You look at Magny's last fight, beat Jeff Neal, and I hold Neal in pretty solid regard as far as the welterweight division goes. I don't think Max Griffin is at Neal's level. I think Magny's going to win this fight by a dominant unanimous decision. Minus 225 is the money line for Neal Magny. That's pretty decent value. I think we are going long here. Fight goes distance, minus 190, but let's look towards the Magny prop. Let's see what we can find. Magny wins via decision. You're looking at best value you'll find is plus 100. You'll even find it more so around minus 115. I feel like that money line isn't bad though at minus 225. I feel like if you're looking to throw something at it money line, I don't hate it at all. I definitely like Magny as a parlay piece, especially at the minus 225 value. I think these are acceptable odds. I feel like this is the discrepancy in this fight. What's Max Griffin's best chance to win? Probably a one-shot KO. Magny's not an easy guy to finish. He's shown durability inside of the UFC. I see him going long, beating Max Griffin. He's a more well-rounded mixed martial artist. He also has some physical advantages as well with the height and the reach. Max Griffin loses this fight. Magny win via decision. I like minus 225. If you can find it even upwards of minus 240, I think it's a solid money line to hit heavy. And I don't think it's a bad play if you're looking to potentially parlay up. Definitely feeling Magny and also win by decision on this lock of the night. Let's keep running though. The next lock of the night, this one is going to be towards the top. I know people want to pick the opposite side. This is the main event. I am going Curtis Blaydes lock of the night. I feel like stylistically this is advantageous matchup. Minus 350, I do agree though. The line here is too wide. I think Daukaus deserves more respect than that. I think it's a minus 250 or even similar to the Magny fight, minus 225. That would be a lot more reasonable of a line. Granted, we haven't seen Daukaus face the beast of a wrestler just yet. He lost to Derek Lewis, knockout. Both guys have knockout losses to Derek Lewis. There's really no shame in that. Striking, Chris Daukaus is a very talented kickboxer and he's quick. He has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, does bring a black belt in there, but it's different in the heavyweight division. You don't see a ton of offensive submissions off the back. If Blaydes is not successful with his takedowns, I can see him clinch grappling and grinding on Daukaus. I will note this. I'm expecting Daukaus to come in the 240s. I don't think he's going to come in at 235 like he did his last time out. I think he comes in at 240, 245, a little bit more meat on him, which I think is going to be advantageous in those grappling positions. Still, I see Curtis Blaydes as too much for him. Minus 350 is the money line favorite, but I'll tell you this. Minus 185 over 1.5. I think we're going longer here. Minus 185 over 1.5 is actually a pretty sweet play. That's definitely something to consider if you're looking to play. And I mean, if you're allowed to parlay it up, depending where you're at, that's not a bad one. Curtis Blaydes, how's he going to get it done? I'm kind of seeing Blaydes with a later TKO, working towards 4th and 5th round. The ground and pound gets going. I think Blaydes also needs it for his career, especially after that Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Kind of a lackluster win. Still dominant, but lackluster. Value right now, Blaydes plus 105 by KO TKO. Let's see if we can find Blaydes by decision as well. Blaydes by decision, the value is upwards of plus 260. So if Daukaus can go the full distance, that one you could hit it and cash more so on. But 5 rounds with Curtis Blaydes, I feel like you will find a way to stop the much smaller Daukaus eventually. But I wouldn't be shocked if it goes the full 5. So I don't hate Blaydes wins by decision. Let's see if we can find any combined round bets to potentially play. Okay. Blaydes to win in round 3 or 4 is plus, what is it, plus 350? Excuse me, no, plus 500. Blaydes wins in round 3 or 4, plus 500. I don't hate that bet, man. I think that's a decent one. If you're looking to sprinkle a little something to come back heavy, I'm kind of thinking Blaydes 3rd, 4th round TKO. I like that plus 500. We don't know how the Daukaus cardio is going to hold up going late. We don't know how he's going to do with the wrestling. A lot of ifs, and I really feel like Blaydes has some certainties. We know he has very good ground and pound. We know he's a good wrestler, and he's not a bad striker either. I think if he just sits and tries to strike with Daukaus, of course a counter strike could land. He could find himself in a bad spot and stop, but I think we're going to see Blaydes go out there and win. I like Blaydes for the W. I'm thinking TKO. I feel like it's going to happen towards that 3, 4, 5, something like that. More so feeling 3 and 4 though. So plus 500 for that is not a bad Hail Mary. Definitely though. Look at over 1.5 at minus 185. Curtis Blaydes money line minus 350 is not a bad touch either. And let's keep running up. the next lock of the night. This one here is going to be one that people are all over, and I'll be honest, it's a tricky lock to call because I also think his opponent's valuable as an underdog as far as value betting side. It's incorrect odds, but I think Askar Askarov gets by with a hard-fought unanimous decision. He's minus 335 at best value, but you're finding him more upwards of minus 380. I'm looking at the line and I'm thinking to myself, this is more so a minus 200. I think they have it wrong, but the pressure of Askarov will be too much. I think he's going to grapple the hell out of Kai Kara-France over the course of the three. Striking, yes, Kai is dangerous with his power, but it's not like he's knocking everybody out. He's still in difficult bouts. I mean, yes, knocked out Cody Garbrandt, but different level here with Askar Askarov. Could Kai land the knockout shot? Definitely possible, but I like the odds of Askar Askarov getting a win, definitely leaning it by a unanimous decision, grinding style grappling game. I feel like the pressure will be too much. I think we're going long here. Fight goes distance is minus 170, minus 190 range. I don't hate fight goes distance here. Askarov to win by a decision. That is what I'm kind of feeling in this spot, minus 105. I don't hate people who are on the opposite side. As we get into dogs, we'll talk a little bit about the opposite side because I know there's definitely a market for it, and it's not a terrible bet if you're looking at it that way. But Askarov win, I like it here, and I like fight goes distance as well. Those are the locks of the night that I'm feeling pretty damn good about, but I will include, I guess, a little asterisk final lock of the night, or you can call it pseudo lock of the night. Corral Rosa, Sarah McMahon. Minus 200 for Rosa. The reason I'm feeling this confidence here is McMahon is so one-dimensional with her game. We know it's basic stand-up to look to get takedowns. Corral Rosa, black belt in jiu-jitsu, very good kickboxing, confident with her striking. I think she'd be tricky to deal with even off of the bottom. Lots of submission losses for McMahon by guillotine. Don't be shocked if you see McMahon shoot and Rosa lock up a sub. So I do want to note Corral Rosa win by submission right now while I have it on my mind here. Rosa wins by submission. Plus 460. I think that is a solid sprinkle Hail Mary style prop here. I really like that one. And I think that Corral Rosa does get it done in this fight. More so leaning decision, but I can see her locking up that neck. Now, let's jump to the dog section. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash that like button. There's some iffy potential dogs to play. So I will talk about the first dog, one that people may not like, but I think the Machida protege, Bruno Souza, plus 100 is a dog that wins here. I think he can beat Luis Saldana. Potentially, you could see Souza stop it late, but I think he takes over in 2 and 3, wins a unanimous decision, plus 100. If you're looking at betting side here, fight goes distance, minus 185, so it's expected to go long here. Try to look towards the props. Souza wins by a decision, plus 200. I don't love a bet on Bruno Souza, but I think he's going to win, and at plus 100 might be worth a bit of a touch here. It's close money. That's a solid close money underdog play. Plus 100, give me that Bruno Souza side as our first dog of the night. And I mean, odds-wise, he's like barely an underdog, which is unfortunate. I wish I had a huge dog to throw at you out the gate. Now, this next dog is an uncertain play. The more I'm watching film of this fight, I'll be honest, I'm giving myself more study on this one. Grasso could beat Joanne Wood. Minus 225 for Grasso, but I think that's a wrong line. Minus 125, minus 150. You look at Joanne Wood, upwards of plus 205 as an underdog. She's a proven veteran. Can she do it for the full 3? She's proven it before. If you're looking to take a stab at a dog at some plus money, especially women's MMA, I think Joanne Wood deserves respect as a longtime vet fighting at the highest level. Grasso is a difficult girl to face off against. Former strawweight girl who was close to contendership. I think Wood could win a decision at that plus money, upwards of plus 205. It's not a bad play. I wouldn't say go nuts with it, but I don't think it's a bad play. Now, as far as props here, the fight goes distance is ugly, minus 275. Wood to win by a decision is plus 450, but a lot of people will be towards the Grasso side, and even Grasso to win a decision, you'll find it at minus 115, absolute best value, but realistically, you're finding it more at minus 150. It's, I guess, a pretty expected outcome by the bookies is Grasso winning a decision at minus 150, a confident one. It makes sense. Wood recently stopped. Time is potentially catching up to her, in her later 30s. She's married now to her coach. I'm still leaning the Wood side, and as far as the betting side, I'm dog or passing it for the value. So give me Joanne Wood plus 205 as an underdog. That might be worth touching as far as this week's dog section. Now, the next dog of the night that I will bring up is not a pick. I am leaning the other way, to be honest. But Mark Jacasey, upwards of plus 150, could potentially be a bad stylistic matchup for Slava Claus. Still liking Borashev to win as far as prediction. As far as betting side, you're looking at the line, you're getting good plus money. If Jacasey can do it for 3 rounds, mix in some takedowns, he could win a decision. So if you're looking to attack purely on value side betting and a chance to win, Mark Jacasey's not a bad play. I would lean you towards just money lining him at upwards of plus 150. But if you want to get a little bit more wild with it, we can also look towards maybe you're playing Jacasey wins by a decision plus 350. I'll say this. If we go the full 3 rounds, odds are telling me it's going to be Mark Jacasey winning a decision. If it ends inside of the distance, it's Slava Claus's fight. That's how I'm looking at this matchup. I'm leaning Slava Claus to win. He is the prediction, but doesn't mean it's impossible for Jacasey as a dog. And value side, it's not an awful bet by decision. Well, let me double check what the value was here. Jacasey, decision, I'll list it up once again, plus 350. I don't think that's a bad prop. Jacasey is a live underdog, though I am picking against him. I still have to mention him. Now, as far as this next one, Matt Brown is a close money up and down. Like he's the dog on Bet Online at minus 105. You can find Barberina elsewhere at plus 100, but I am going to include him as a dog section, but put an asterisk all over it. It's a close money play. Minus 105, Matt Brown. I think he might be worth touching with a little bit of something, especially this being his final fight. Interesting note that he hasn't gone distance ever in his home state. That could be a factor. I expect a war between these two. Fight doesn't go the distance. Minus 170. It's not expected to on the books. I expect these two to throw down. Barberina's been TKO'd before. Matt Brown's been stopped in the past, but lately he's looked pretty good even at an older age. Matt Brown has the power to stop Barberina. As far as their pinnacles through their careers, Matt Brown was the better fighter. But as far as now, I do think Barberina's a tricky, quick southpaw. I'm still going Brown. I'm liking Brown inside distance. Let's look at this. Brown wins inside distance plus 180. Brown to win money line minus 105. I don't think it's a bad touch. I will say, I think over 1.5, extremely likely here. Minus 160 for over 1.5. I think that's a valuable touch if you're looking towards playing this fight because I really don't see either guy stopping each other early. I think it'd be more of a late fight, both guys wearing a lot of damage, and then a TKO more towards the 3rd round really for Matt Brown. So now you got me curious. What is Matt Brown by TKO in the 3rd? Brown TKO round number 3 plus 1,700. Damn. I may have to attack the round bet there. Plus 1,700, Brown by TKO in the 3rd. It's possible. It's possible. Plus 180 for him to win by TKO is not bad either, but that over 1.5 minus 160 is one that I do think has some pretty damn good value. That is the dog section. Now, there are some other bets that I will bring up. David Dvorak is a close money favorite over Matthias Nicolau. I think it's a competitive fight. Definitely leaning that Dvorak side. Could be a bet if you're looking to throw down on somebody with real close money. And then as far as some of the other matchups, Dana Batagrol, Chris Gutierrez, I respect Gutierrez's game. He's a live underdog here. I didn't include him in the dog section, but he is technically a dog that could come through. But I think Batagral's power is the difference maker. Even if it goes long, Gutierrez is not a heavy puncher. He's more of a volume guy. He has excellent kicks. Can he pick the legs apart of Batagral? It's possible. Don't think it's super likely, but I have to note Gutierrez plus 130 there in that spot as an underdog, whereas Batagral is the minus 135 favorite. Let's jump to the prop section. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash the hell out of that like button. Pure prop side of things, I think we have to look towards that Dvorak-Nicolau fight. We'll dive a little bit deeper on that one because I feel like it might be one where you can get off a little something. Now, on this fight, Dvorak-Nicolau, over 2.5 rounds is at minus 205, depending where you go. I think it's pretty likely these guys go a little bit long here. I don't see it ending early. I see these guys going the full 3. Give me that over 2.5 as a potential parlay piece. I think it's one you might be able to include depending on which book you're at, but I like David Dvorak to win, but I think the over 2.5 is a more certain thing here. I really feel like this fight's going longer. Now, going back to the fight between Gutierrez and Batagral, which we were just talking about, I want to know Batagral by KO. I feel like I have to acknowledge that he has the power to do so, but I have to acknowledge as well, Gutierrez hasn't been stopped. So it's a scary proposition if you're playing KO, plus 175. Batagral to win by a decision, interestingly enough, is plus 375. Neither are bad props, but if they go the full three and Batagral wins the decision, plus 375, Gutierrez never been stopped. It's not a bad play. Could he be the first guy to stop Gutierrez? Plus 175. So decent little look there as far as the props go. Obviously, you'd be picking between the two, but they're valuable plays. As far as the value side is Batagral decision, plus 375. But definitely heavy-handed Batagral could get the KO at plus 175. Now, this next one, it's one that I'm liking a lot. I'm liking this one a damn lot. It is towards the top of the card here. Slava Borishev versus Mark Jacasey will bring this fight back up. Borishev win by knockout. I think this is a likely result. It's plus 130. What round does he get it done? Well, if your book allows, I want to see if we can prop up rounds 1 or 2. Let's see if we can find that anywhere, and I'll let you know where you can find it as well. Borishev wins in round 1 or 2, plus 140. Let's see, Borishev wins by KO in plus rounds 1 or 2. I guess is not available. Damn, they're just giving us plus 140. That's unfortunate, man. I was hoping to get a little more action on that one. But plus 140, Borishev wins KO, or just wins in round 1 or 2, but it's going to be KO if he wins. Plus 140. And as far as where you can find that, that is over at Bet Rivers. So there's some places you could play it. Later on in the week, there'll probably be a full slew of parlays at majority of you guys' bookies that you'll be playing at. I like Borishev by KO, though. I don't think he's a bad touch at plus 130. I think it's highly likely that one comes through. I feel like if it goes long, it's Jacasey winning a decision, but I'm expecting this fight under 2.5 rounds. That right there is at minus 150, which is something to note. But I like that Borishev KO play as opposed to the money line at minus 150. Now, as far as the next prop, this one's interesting. Latifi Oleinik. I look at this matchup and I'm expecting such a weird fight. Over 1.5 for Latifi and Oleinik is at minus 165. I think that's a miss mark. I think it should be minus 200. I feel like it's likely we're going long here. Neither guy I really see finishing the other in the first round and a half. So at minus 160, that's a pretty good prop that you might be wanting to sneak at, maybe touch it with a little something if you're looking to throw out an over-under. Even though they're heavyweights, neither are heavy punchers. Finishing ability on both sides, but against one another. Both guys with good grappling games. More the wrestling on Latifi, more the, Sambo-esque jiu-jitsu on Oleinik. I like Latifi wins a decision there in that fight. He's a minus 175 favorite, but an ugly one to potentially bet on. But I like that over 1.5 minus 165. Overall, there's definitely some decent props you can potentially play for some of these fights. I'm looking forward to this card. As you dive, a lot deeper into these cards, you're always getting more excited about them. I think we're going to get good action. As far as the props, I like what we listed off as some potential plays. I want to jump to the parlay section. Make sure you guys smash that like button. And let's talk a bit about the parlays. Now, parlay number 1 that I love, Fiorot, Kisharev, and Neil Magny. It's plus 100. We'll call it the safe parlay of the week, one that I will be touching myself. I feel confident in it coming through. I see all three of those fighters getting victories. Now, if you want to add a little spice to it, you can add in Curtis Blaydes, and that'll bring you up to plus 150. If you're like, listen, I don't want to add Blaydes. I'd rather go Askarov, plus 155. Maybe you want to add in both, plus 220. Obviously, it can get crazier and crazier the more you go with it. And then if you added in Daukaus, Blaydes over 1.5, as well as adding in, Blaydes, Askarov to the original piece with Fiorot, Kisharev, Magny, plus 390. I think as a wider stretch parlay at plus 390, that might be the one to be playing, guys. I don't know. I like that line myself, and I will be playing it plus 390. One to potentially touch. If you're like, listen, I want more. I want to add to it. You want to add Karol Rosa in. You're bringing yourself to that plus 625 mark. Now, I know some of you will probably be parlaying up Kai Kara-France. I wouldn't blame you guys. You're going to get yourself great plus money if he does come through. But that would be more of the Hail Mary tickets. Now, as far as some of the other fighters to potentially include, I want to send off with a wild man parlay. I'll leave in this wild play with Fiorot, Ali Shisareb, Neil Magny, Curtis Blaydes, Askarov, over 1.5, Daukaus Blaydes, Karol Rosa, that's plus 625. But I want the final piece. Who is the final touch to the play that I want to throw down? Because I'm going to be honest, I want to give you guys something in the 1,000 mark. If you want to go wild with it, you go Matt Brown and you bring yourself to plus 1,315. That is wide. That is possible. But I think Slava might be the way to go here at plus 1,000. I know Jacasey is a live dog, but Slava's game, I think, goes towards getting the knockout over Mark Jacasey. It's plus 1,090 for that one. I don't think that's a bad touch. And let's see if there's somebody else, though. I want to see somebody else that jumps out the page at me with any of these fighters that I haven't included just yet. It'd be close money, but Dvorak plus 1,230. If you add in somebody at fairly close money, it's going to be jumping your line pretty well here. And I mean, pretty much everything left is more close money favorites besides Alexa Grasso, who's minus 235. That brings you to plus 930. Definitely some ways you can touch it, man. I feel like maybe you got to touch Dana Batigral and bring yourself to plus 1140. I hate looking at these Hail Marys because likelihood of them coming through, let's be honest, is on the lower side. Somebody or something is bound to potentially go wrong. But those 3-fighter parlays, you know, those are my bread and butter. I like 2 3-fighter parlays the absolute most, but the Hail Marys are always fun to do. And I mean, if you load up the one that I listed off, you're bringing yourself a ton of plus money. But it can get dangerous, man, because at that point, you're trying to Mystic Mac it. It happens, but it doesn't always happen. Overall, I think this week, there are some good bets to be made, but lean yourself towards, you know, the cautious side. I don't think go too crazy because there's some close plays. There's some odds that are too wide that I think the fight deserves to be closer, that you can lose money. I like the locks that I listed off earlier on. I guess I'll link them up again, man. Like, I feel like if you parlay up like Kisarev, Firat, Magny, I think you're more in the safe zone. Even if you went Kisarev, Magny, and you went Blaydes, you're like, listen, don't give me a female fighter, but I think Firat's like a staple addition. At least for me, Firat and Kisharev are like my 2 that I will include with anybody. Then my extensions would be adding in somebody like a Neil Magny. If you want to risk it, you could add like Joanne Wood to the line. But I don't know. I think fighting a younger girl, she could be in a tricky spot. That's a scary bet. She's a live underdog, but I think risk it more in the money line rather than trying to risk it all in the parlay and then right at the co-main event, you end up getting killed. Overall, though, fun card, UFC Columbus. I'll be live for the entire thing. Keep it locked in right here at MMA Experts. Smash that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on. Share the video as well. That fight companion will be a lot of fun on Saturday. The Shui will definitely be flowing. This week, we will do 130 likes for the Shui, which is something I'm super excited about. Make sure to smash the likes, guys. Thank you all so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace, everybody.